All right, so we're still over around the Atlanta area, on the outskirts of Atlanta, headed to Kennesaw, and was contacted by Seth, who owns Distillery of Modern Arts. So we're gonna go in, we're gonna check him out, and see what they're all about. I don't know a thing about their product. I don't know what to expect, but we shall see. So let's go in and check them out. All right, still in Atlanta, Distillery of Modern Art reached out to me yesterday, saw me on the pages and said, hey man, looks like you like whiskey. I'd love for you to come by and check out what we've got going on. So I did. I left Short Barrel, came over and met up with Seth, and he and I are gonna tour the facility, and he's gonna tell us a little bit about what they've got going on here. So this is Seth. Seth, thank you for having me come over, man. I appreciate it.
Brandon, I'm excited that you're here, man. It's great to share.
Well, tell us all about it, man. I mean, this is a very impressive facility. I mean, it's beautiful.
Thanks, man.
And when I pulled up, I was like, wow, this is like a smaller version of Bardstown.
Yeah.
I really like it.
So we are tucked away in Chamblee, Georgia, just north of Buckhead.
Okay.
We've been here now 3 years, started building this place about 5 years ago. The goal was to make incredible, affordable, and approachable spirits. Full stop. Huge fan of modern art, huge fan of the mix of artistry and science that takes place in making whiskey and making other good spirits, and wanted to have a place that was a hub for creativity. So we, again, see that subjectivity of art and science all the time. So as you wander through this building, you'll see nothing but local art, but it's all to lean in on the artist community. This is an artist community.
Absolutely.
Making whiskey from grain, yeah, I don't love the expression grain to glass, but we are heavily involved in our grain and our farmers, mill our own grain, distill all of our own products, and we're able to help other brands. So we're tiny. You didn't know about us. Nobody else knew about us.
So you're 3 years old.
Yep.
You're distilling your own juice, but you're also distilling and packaging for other brands.
We do a ton of co-packing, a ton of product development, and a ton of, in general, co-packing for other brands.
And are you sourcing all your grains from Georgia or just all over, or kind of how's that work?
That's an awesome question. So for all of our products, we use 100% white corn. We just find the grain to be a much different, subtle sweetness.
Okay.
Our rye is an Abruzzi rye, which very much an Italian varietal of rye.
Okay.
Grows really well in the Southeast. And then all of our malts are coming out of Asheville. All of the farmers we use now for all of our stillage, all of our waste, it's going back to a farm after we've used these grains, going back to those farms and being used as compost for the future. And those farms are growing our grains for the next season.
Beautiful.
So everything will go from regional to completely in-state.
Gotcha.
By like, our next group of whiskey that'll be in barrels will be all homegrown, Georgia-based
That's
grains.
awesome. And I see you spared no expense with the Vendome stuff, so it's all Vendome copper.
We received these in 2019 after about a
steel.
year of commissioning, and could not speak more highly. We've got a 30-foot column, 12-inch. I think it's one of the tallest in the Southeast. I don't know if you can even see all the way up.
Probably not.
We had to build an additional part of this roof to even get it in here, which was worth it, and 500-gallon pot. And so all our whiskey and our vodkas run through this column. Our Amaro, our gin, and more specialty products will run through the pot.
That's
and
great.
then we'll sometimes do a redistill. So not only do we make bourbon and rye, but we also do 100% white corn, and sometimes we'll do a redistillation of it in the pot.
And we're making whiskey today.
We are making whiskey right now.
That's awesome. So you guys pretty much got the column going just about every day?
We're producing 5 days a week. If it's not ours, we're producing for a bunch of other brands. And so we want to keep our staff on site at all times. We want to keep consistency. So going the hard route of from scratch allows us to keep others busy and working. And right now we're packaging for another brand.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, that's who. I mean, you've got multiple sources of revenue there, and you're able to help them out in places that they can't manage there. So that's great.
That's the truth. You want to go inside?
Absolutely.
Let's do it. So we're kind of wandering. We'll come around. It's actually John, our assistant distiller.
Hey, John, how you doing, man?
So we'll bring in 2,000-pound sacks of grain right here. We'll dial into our mill to make sure, you know, if it's corn, rye, malt, get it down to the grit that we want it to, run through this auger here. It'll process through this, and it'll pump through the wall into our mash tun on the opposite side. So we're definitely control freaks, and the ability to control what goes in, what comes out. If you don't start with good grain, you're going to come with bad whiskey. I don't care how long it sits in a barrel.
For sure.
You're not going to fix the problem, right? So in here, we get to control that grain mill and then send it into our mash tuns in the next room. So almost always 2,000 pounds at a time. That one is for who? Let's see. It's non-GMO white, Solterra. That actually came out of Indiana.
Out of Indiana, right on.
That rye may have come from somewhere else. So it'll get loud in here, but we're currently doing some co-packing work for a brand out of New York. This is a ready-to-drink bottled cocktail.
I like it.
So semi-automatic, as you can see, they'll fill with the machine. They'll
You're
loosely
good,
cork,
You're
and then the automation takes place towards the end. Just watch your step coming through here. From there, it'll hit the labeler, and this machine allows us to do any size, any shape. So we're able to sort of bend to what somebody may or may not need.
Very cool.
That back wall is the mash tun. So grain's coming out of that stainless steel off the wall. It's dumping into the mash tun to cook. The middle tank here is where all fermentation is taking place. And then after fermentation, it's transferred to be distilled 2 rooms down.
Okay.
Then comes back in here for bottling or barreling. So as you see, I don't have a barrel warehouse in this building. We're 3 miles away with 10,000 square feet to house all of our whiskey storage.
Okay.
It would never fit in this building.
Gotcha.
So by end of day, you'll see 5 to 10 pallets go out the door for this product alone. That's not ours, but for another business.
You're maximizing your space for sure.
Yeah. It's our packaging manager, Selena, right here. Brandon. We can pop into the lab briefly. You cool with dogs?
Very cool.
Cool. Let's see if I can find him. This is Josie the dog.
Hey, what is it? What is
Brandon, this is Matt, our head distiller, Matt Greif.
Hey, Matt. Brandon
Brandon.
Carlton.
Brandon,
Nice to meet you.
So this is Matt, the genius behind all of the distillation in this place. He's currently working on something interesting. But all the math and science will happen back here, and then it gets scaled up to be in production.
I mean, this is scientific.
Yes, it is.
I like it. I like it.
This
High-tech equipment. I probably can't even pronounce that thing in the back there. What is
called
that
a
doing?
rotovap.
Yep.
So that is for pure extractions.
Like it.
So if we've got somebody says we had a client who wanted a lavender vodka. So rather than just steeping lavender in a vodka, we pulled the true essence through that machine and was able to create a concentrate. So you get no extra flavors or
cold distillation. So when you put everything under a vacuum, the boiling point lowers. So I'm distilling at 35 Celsius rather than 90 Celsius.
Okay.
Like that. So there's no heat and it's not cooking the botanicals.
Okay.
So it keeps it pretty pure.
Wow.
And then although this is not part of production, this gallery here is meant to help support local community.
Okay.
It's always 2 complimentary artists at a time, all local. They rotate every 2 months and we take no commission from the artists. So when they come in to sell, they can sell all they want. We want to sell whiskey, not art. We just want people to enjoy it.
Right.
So a new demographic of people come through the door and we get to help elevate local people. And this, actually, if you got this at all, this is a look back into that lab, and you usually just see Matt's hands working. So it's a really cool piece of
Dude,
live
that
art.
is too cool. I'm about to show that. You got all the art across the wall here. You got the art on this other wall. But the coolest thing you just showed me, I wouldn't have even noticed it. You look back here, the lab that we just went in. So that's just a reflection of Matt working in the lab. That is way too cool. That is so cool.
So with this changing frequently, it's great. So the bar itself, the cocktail bar, open Thursday through Sundays. Live music, chef pop-ups. In Georgia, I don't know if Alabama is the same, but in Georgia, we can only sell what we make. So everything
That's
behind
right.
our bar is, this is supposed to be the interior of a whiskey barrel. That's how this
cool.
was designed, yeah. So everything we sell behind the bar, every cocktail that we make, all have just our spirits in it.
Awesome.
So
Well,
that's,
you know I've got to try something. So
yeah, man.
I gotta
Let's
see what
sit
you're
down and
making
try
here.
something. Just wanted them to be good, and so
Right.
when we felt like they were good, that's when we were ready to put them out. Cool thing about all of our bottles, which you can see some interior of the art, all of the artwork was commissioned locally. We gave a local artist a sample of whatever product we wanted them to design. Said create a 40 by 40 piece of canvas, piece of abstract artwork that spoke to the spirit in the bottle, and that's what we got in return. So we now have, on the interior of all of these bottles, there is a fantastic piece of art that represents that spirit. Each one's different.
So this is what he's talking about with the artwork on the back side of the bottle. You can see that. A lot of thought has gone into this, man. Everything that I've seen, like you guys have put tons of thought and
Labels
effort
made of
into what you're doing.
canvas. The artwork and the artist name is listed on the actual bottle to highlight them.
We'll go whichever way you want to go
Let's
because I
go.
like both.
That's going to be here. This is you here. That's rye. That's bourbon.
Okay. So this is the rye, which is this bottle. I came in, I told Seth, I was like, look, man, I got 20, 30 minutes. He's
You got
sitting there
3
watching,
minutes
he's
now.
watching his clock more than I am. Like, couldn't ask for a better guy. They reached out to me, asked me to come here, and have been 100% respectful of what I had to do to get here. This is great, man. So this is a 3-year-old rye.
Yep. Again, you're going to have that balance of white corn, a bruisey rye, and some malt.
Okay.
And all three of those are regionally grown, non-GMO on the white corn. We know the farmer. We care about the farm. We care about the products coming off of them. And this jumps to me in a couple different ways. That I'm a rye drinker over bourbon in general, but I love
you and I both. Or
Yeah.
high rye bourbon if I go after rye, but I love rye.
Yep.
It's floral. It's got a very good nose on it to be 3 years old. It's got great color to be 3 years old.
I have nothing to say but to say that this doesn't drink like you'd expect it to.
So where you're aging, where your barrels are, your rick houses or whatnot, high heat kind of thing, like a typical
So no
rick,
HVAC, metal roof,
Okay.
5 stacked high,
almost like a typical rick house.
Yep.
Then.
concrete floor.
That nose is beautiful. Dude, you got to be kidding me.
This is my most proud bottle here.
Look, man, I go into all these places, brutally honest, right? People want me to just bash it. Tell me the truth. Tell me what's wrong with it. I think I chose the wrong name because I like whiskey. I just like whiskey. There's very few that I dislike. There are some that personally I dislike.
Yeah, absolutely.
That rye is freaking phenomenal.
Cheers, man. I appreciate that.
That is delicious.
This is a
I
very,
can't imagine
very
what
good
that's
product.
going to look like at 5 to 7 years, 8 years.
We pulled a barrel out before the middle of the summer, before we released it, just to try, and we were like, we're not putting this barrel back.
Make sure I leave with a bottle of that to put. I'll review that on YouTube. That is fantastic, brother.
There's such, you get your classics of leather, chocolate, and so forth, but I get a little bit of mint in there, which I kind of love.
There's some mint there,
And that rye is different than most ryes. Just the actual grain provides a different flavor profile.
But the flavor on the mid to finish, I wish I could articulate it. It's so good. So I was telling them earlier, I was telling Sam, the one thing that I don't want in a rye is the mint, and it's known for putting off a mint, but the ryes that I like don't have the mintiness. But he gave me one of their ryes, the Rye 101 a while ago, and it had a flavor of mint that I liked.
There you go.
You know,
never
it
know.
wasn't that artificial spearmint.
You're,
Like,
you're at 230.
okay. That's very, very good. I did not expect to like that. So this is the bourbon.
Yep, that one's the bourbon.
And here's Seth telling me, hey, man, you said 30 minutes. Your 30 minutes is up. Get with it. My wife's sitting there saying, you don't know him, Seth. He'll talk forever.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
Bourbon.
bourbon next.
Yep. So again, I feel proud about being something not being only being 3 years of age for sure. And
Absolutely.
this drinks like it should. I am fine with people commenting on this bourbon as it being too young for them, but truthfully, I drink whiskey off the still frequently to know where we are, and I don't care that it's 140 at the time. That won't be my drink at night,
Right.
but knowing how great it comes off that still and then watching that progress, being able to enjoy that at this time, I think that it plays the game of a really nice bourbon at 90 proof.
So you can definitely tell that the bourbon is youthful.
Get your classic
Some
vanillas, and
vanillas, yes.
what I love on this one is that grassy taste of a younger bourbon comes through, like fresh farm. And if you grew up anywhere near fresh cut grass or cereal grains or anything like that, to know this is smooth for 90. And
definitely the cereal grains.
Yep.
I picked that up. But there's a lot of barrel impact there. But there again, we're talking about Atlanta heat and Atlanta's weather cycle, right? Like last week we were 70 degrees. Today we're in the 30s, right?
Yeah.
So,
woke up, it was 20, man.
yeah. So
There's a huge difference.
You didn't have to do that. I don't know what's happened here, but
That's how we felt.
That's excellent whiskey. I can't wait to see what you guys have coming in the years to come with that, because that is delicious.
We're pretty excited. Just at this time, like we tried last year, it wasn't ready. This year, it just felt like it was ready. We're in no rush. We have 2 vodkas, a gin, an Amaro, and 100% corn whiskey in the market that do fine. We weren't rushing because this matters to us more than anything.
For sure.
And for us sourcing, it's the last thing I'll say on it. For us, sourcing meant that if we try to just blend our distillate into it over time, what I know would happen as a consumer is that people would say it's not as good as it used to be because they were used to one thing and then it changed. I'd rather live or die on these. You like it now and you're more excited for the future, great.
For sure.
But not because we threw in some other aged product into it and now it's 100% ours and everyone's like, well, I don't know, it used to be better.
Right.
I'd rather you say it's great and it's going to be better, or like it never was.
So the bourbon is good. The rye has more complexity. That's more of a storyteller. It's folding, it's unraveling as I drink it. The bourbon has a great flavor. It's lighter in flavor, so that leads me to believe as the time comes, either one of those. I'd buy either one, but if I saw them both sitting on the shelf and I was limited in funds, I'd buy the rye.
Love that.
But I would not throw rocks at either one of those. Congratulations.
Appreciate
you
that,
guys
man.
are doing a great thing.
I'm thrilled that you were able to come in and we kept you somewhat on time.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there you have it, guys. Distillery of Modern Art here in Georgia, outside of Atlanta. I think you should come by and at least check them out, man. I was hit up by them and didn't know a thing about them. Expected to come here and be like, I don't know. This is impressive. I mean, their facility to the whiskey, to how friendly they are, forget about it. Blown away. Really cool place, like high tech. I'd say it's like a miniature Bardstown in there, like very scientific, very state of the art. Everybody there was personable, as you could see. So I don't know what to tell you. That you need to check out their product. I'll be doing a review on that. Got some rye and bourbon from him. 3 years of age. They constantly still distill their own stuff. They do not source, and they're also doing some work with other brands like packaging and that kind of thing. So that's really cool. But Seth and these guys are phenomenal. So I really am glad that he reached out to me. I've been put onto another small distillery, and that's what we're all about here at Brutally Honest Bourbon. So until next time, let the whiskey and friendships flow. Cheers.